Leverkusen in Germany, the Japanese garden, a haven of Far Eastern harmony. Disparate elements are brought into balance here. Visitors experience a landscape that generates a sense of well-being, soothes tensions, releases energies. We meet here a Chinese woman, Ka Lam Li. She tells us about her country's ancient theory of harmony, Feng Shui, and how it can help people to a better life.
Living better with Feng Shui means living in harmony with nature, with the forces of nature, in harmony with the 5 elements. For me, that means feeling good in one's body, in one's skin, in one's surroundings, in one's house or apartment. Feng Shui means wind and water. Feng is wind and Shui is water.
The metropolis of Hong Kong, a city of change and contrast, innovation and tradition. Ka Lam Li was born here in 1967 and was introduced as a small child to the law of Feng Shui, to the traditions and experiences that shape life in China. When she was 5, her family left Hong Kong and came to Europe. She now lives in Cologne, where she studied business management and worked in marketing. But then she trained for 2 years with an Asian expert and became a consultant in Feng Shui, in energetic forces in and around us.
You have to think of body energy, or qi, as something like a bank account. In other words, I can only take out as much energy as I've paid in. If I take out too much, the bank will block access to my account. There are 3 ways of putting in body energy: by food, by a balanced diet rich in nutrients, by physical training. Tai Chi, Chinese shadow boxing, is very good. And by Feng Shui, which is living and working in an atmosphere that is very harmonious and generates energy.
Mönchengladbach in the middle of Germany. Ka Lam Li has given us the address of one of her clients, who's just moved into a new flat with her partner. She's given Irene Brückel very comprehensive advice and drawn up plans for her to implement.
She's given me this folder. We discussed everything beforehand, and we've been through it together. It's got all the plans of our house, our living areas, and suggestions for where things should go. The problem with this flat is that there's a big water vein running right through, here at the back, as far as the bedroom, and we have to do something to compensate for that. These are symbols. A flower shows where we have to put flowers. And this red picture of a couple is for the kitchen. Because that area, the area of relationship, is completely lost. And when something is missing in an area, we have to do something to get it back into balance.
Her partner is skeptical. We are too. But he's prepared to go along with Ka Lam Li's suggestions and advice because he wants to help his sick wife.
I've started producing antibodies that attack my thyroid. It's an illness that is relatively unknown. The doctors can't say very much about it. The cause might be stress or smoking. No one really knows where it comes from.
We shall go back and see them in 4 weeks' time to find out if there have been any results. In the meantime, it's on to the next case and the next town. Herzebrock in eastern Westphalia. Christian Hocker lives and works in this house. 2 years ago, he asked Ka Lam Li to locate interference fields. He felt washed out, exhausted. She checked out the house and the surroundings, discussed things with him in great detail, and compared data she'd collected with aspects of his personality.
This is a dowser or divining rod. It helps to seek out interference field energy, which is detrimental to health, like the energy from a water vein. That's the commonest type of interference field in Germany.
Christian Hocker took advice from Karl Li when he renovated his house, which he inherited from his grandmother. He put her suggestions into practice.
I'm an alternative practitioner, and my specialty is Chinese medicine. Anyone who's involved with Chinese medicine necessarily comes across Feng Shui and possibly takes an interest in it. What fascinates me about it is that it's possible, by applying the rules of Feng Shui, to influence the feeling of well-being in my living space. But also in my working area, the success of my work, or my feeling of well-being when I'm working, and the results of that can be influenced.
Und die Resultate, die man vollbringt, verändert werden können.
The choice of colors is an essential element of Feng Shui, and the colors that were auspicious for Christian Hocker were all earth colors, the whole range from yellow, beige, sand, terracotta to brown.
Gelb, beige, Sandfarben, tiefer ins Terrakotta bis hin zum Braun. Das sind alles
But also the fire colors, the reds, were right for him, or as we say, energetically beneficial.
Auch sehr günstig. Also wir sagen immer energetisch förderlich.
All measures to promote and harmonize the flow of energy, expedients that can also help at work.
I'm not so tired anymore, not so worn out. I notice that when I insert a needle, it sits differently, it goes in differently. It handles more easily, a craftsman might say. That's my impression. But most of all, after 12 hours work, I don't feel exhausted.
Our skepsis grows. He's made alterations to his house, extended it. Colors, shapes, positions and energy fields are part of his recipe for success too.
The treatment figures have gone up. We're getting more patients, because I now have a partner in the practice who's gradually doing more. We're expanding. And the question is, which I never would have thought before I started the alterations, won't this extension to the practice be too small in a few years' time?
We're amazed again and again that measurements, shapes, positions, personality traits are seen as having a role to play. Is it superstition? Is it fact? We travel to Remscheid. Karl Li wants to demonstrate to us that Feng Shui is a force to be reckoned with and is enriching life in Europe. She takes us to a large furniture store.
I was invited to come to this furniture store. They'd been interested in Feng Shui for some time, and they saw my name somewhere in a newspaper article, and they invited me. The start of our cooperation was a talk that we gave on a Sunday when the store was open for viewing. And this free invitation to the lecture attracted over 100 visitors. The showrooms were packed. And that was the spark that kindled further cooperation in the form of a show Feng Shui section.
Furniture over an area of 27,000 square meters. She was allowed to choose pieces from any floor for her show section. She chose whatever she wanted from their whole range according to her criteria. The management gave her a completely free hand. Owner Andreas Knappstein and his directors wanted to set an example, offer an opportunity. What does an entrepreneur expect of Feng Shui?
It isn't expectation. The customer expects something and we respond. Herr Goethe and I came across Feng Shui in Hong Kong in 1998. It's now become a movement that isn't restricted to China. It's happening everywhere.
It isn't only here that people are trying to succeed with Feng Shui. Other companies too work with the basics of the Chinese theory of harmony. Tell me again what the Feng Shui effect of this cupboard is.
Certainly. The Feng Shui effect of the cupboard. You can see it has a wonderfully rounded form. And through this roundness, of course you don't have to have round cupboards in your house, but this is the most perfect Feng Shui realization because the roundness lets the qi flow past harmoniously. So energy doesn't eddy around, and that's important when you're sitting here on the sofa with your back to the cupboard.
Oder insbesondere dann günstig keine Energieverwirbelung zu haben, wenn Sie hier auf dem Sofa sitzen und den Schrank im Rücken haben.
Another example. This chest of drawers is beautifully rounded as well. I don't have any sharp corners here, which might catch my knee as I walk past. That's something I know in my subconscious, where it gets embedded, and it generates anxieties, which weaken the body. It's not something I rationalize consciously, but in my unconscious, in my whole physical sensitivity, in my material well-being. I'm aware of it. Or another example. On this wall at the back, we have a perfume lamp, which gives off a special, very positive aroma thanks to the warmth. There are essential oils in it which improve the air in the room. As a result, you breathe deeper, and that stimulates your metabolism, your whole organism. The internal organs function optimally, and you live more healthily.
Feng Shui, we begin to realize after this visit, is an eclectic mixture of common sense, logical considerations and well-informed traditional experience. Berlin. In the taxi from the airport, we asked Ka Lam Li about the origins of Feng Shui.
Feng Shui is a Chinese science that was founded by Taoist monks between 3,000 and 5,000 years ago. The exact time is disputed.
What did they do?
They proceeded empirically. In other words, they observed nature, natural events. They saw that event A led to result B. Natural phenomenon C led to event D, and so on. They made empirical connections between all these things. And from these lifelong observations, because the monks gave their whole lives to these very detailed studies, there arose a complex system of diverse principles and rules. And that's what we call today Feng Shui.
Berlin Mitte, in the heart of the city. Part of this building houses an internet company dealing in real estate, distributed among several individual and open-plan offices. An expanding enterprise. Ka Lam Li has been advising Managing Director Birgit Ströbel for 6 months.
We deal every month with nearly 1.5 million buyers and renters who are looking for their ideal properties with the help of Immobilien Scout. That makes us by far the biggest property web portal on the German internet. At the moment, we have 420,000 properties for sale or to let. The main problem was the acoustics. The sound carries between this open-plan office and the other one, and within this office. The second problem, connected with the first, was concentration. The employees found the noise very disturbing. Those were the two main problems.
And what did you try to do about them?
I tried, because it's a familiar problem in all open-plan offices, I tried to damp down the acoustics by introducing a lot of objects that absorb sound. For one thing, this curtain, which has 2 layers of material on each side, so it's really 4 layers. And for another, sound diffusers in the form of plants. You can see there are a lot of plants in this office. They're not here just to absorb sound. They have other functions as well. I always try to combine as many Feng Shui effects as possible, so I don't have to fill the place up too much. I'm very interested in achievement-oriented societies, and there you always come across Asiatic cultures which rate achievement very highly. and wherever there's a lot to be achieved, one encounters Feng Shui. A great deal is made possible by Feng Shui by arranging things according to the Feng Shui philosophy. That's why we've sought the support of Feng Shui here too, in the hope that it can help us solve our problems. I would have preferred, of course, to bathe the whole wall in color, but only minor measures were possible here. I had to make compromises because this room is not going to be used for very long. There's a move scheduled quite soon within the building. These pictures also have their function. To the observer, they look just nice and decorative, but they have the function, through the colors yellow and orange, of stimulating brain performance, thought processes. Orange also spreads optimism, so it's a very good combination, yellow and orange.
Not only has the character of the room been shaped by flowers and plants and colours, she's also moved around the people working in it. Martina Klaasen, for example.
The emotional feel of the new office is very good. I was moved. I used to sit in a different place, next to different people. And now, in this corner, I feel more sheltered, for one thing, and I can concentrate better. And it's also quieter, because we've put in the curtain.
Did you have as many plants before?
No, nowhere near as many. That's all happened with the new Feng Shui arrangements, and I like it very much.
Did you have any experience of Feng Shui before?
No, never. This is the first time. It was completely new to me, and I'm amazed that it just looks like a normal office. There's nothing esoteric about it.
A week later, Ka-Lam Lee has an appointment in Munich. She's suggested we meet on the motorway. In the restaurant of the Grübingen services, 40 kilometres past Stuttgart, on the motorway from Cologne to Munich. If I'm late, she tells us, have a look round and prepare to be surprised. It's Europe's first Feng Shui motorway restaurant, the idea of leaseholder Erich Kaul.
The special feature, of course, is the distinctive roof. The shape, I always say, is a bit like a fish. The fins at the back, the head up there. The porthole windows, we were told by a Chinese on the architect's team, stand for the golden cufflinks of the merchant, signifying economic success. They also symbolize the 5 elements of Feng Shui. And then this striking porch, which is slanted to allow an optimal flow of energy into the house. Those are the distinctive features of this building.
The motorway company gave the Kauls the go-ahead for their plans to introduce Feng Shui to the foothills of the Swabian Jura. They said yes to the symbolic proportions, to the particular alignment of the building site, the greenery on the roofs, the colours and shapes that are there to activate and enhance life energy. And what questions do the visitors ask Erich Kaul?
They usually ask, what is Feng Shui? And we tell them that Feng Shui is the science of harmony and well-being, which we've tried to implement here.
Well-being and harmony, does that also have to do with colour?
It has to do with a lot of details of the philosophy, with the design of the house, the angle at which it's built, how the 5 colors of the 5 elements are implemented in the house. They have to be in harmony with one another. You won't find any seat cover with a mixture of colors in it. There's always just one color. The tables, too, are in a color that tones in. Or here on the coffee bar, the seats are in harmony with the coffee bean. The attempt is always made to choose organic forms and colors that tone in with one another.
Ka-Lam Lee has arrived. It's her first time here too, and she takes a good look at the products, the quality of the dishes. She asks Erich Kaul about special things on the menu.
We've got all the classical dishes, of course, that everyone knows. And in addition, on Feng Shui lines, we have one dish every day from the 5-element cuisine that we offer. That's the special Feng Shui offer. Then there's also freshly prepared fruit, homemade muesli, fresh salads, to keep our customers happy in terms of wellness.
Even in the entrance to the toilets, particular forms and the fire color red are pointers to Feng Shui. Energy should not be hindered by corners and edges. Not everything makes immediate sense to the critical observer, but still, we're fascinated by the attitude of those who adopt Feng Shui and believe in it. Water means life, means energy, says Ka-Lam Lee. She draws our attention to the Qi fountain in the middle of the restaurant, a center of force. Qi is energy, she repeats, and energy too has many forms, many characteristics, overt, hidden, even mysterious ones. She's going on to Munich today to see a new client. She's convinced that Feng Shui is on the increase in Europe too. A business house in Munich. On the lower floor there's a public relations agency. Ka-Lam Lee has come for an initial talk with the director, and she will survey the rooms and later do an analysis. Martina Keller is looking for suggestions.
Guten Tag. Ka-Lam Lee, hallo, grüße Sie.
These are the rooms, and she's really curious to hear what Ka-Lam Lee has to say.
Oh nein, danke. Das geht schon. Ich bin das gewöhnt, die Tasche zu tragen. Das ist Ihr Empfang.
This is the reception area.
The agency has 15 employees, she says. The directors find some of the rooms too sterile, and they want more energy, more creativity.
Der muss noch belebt werden. Der Konferenzraum.
The conference room really needs to be livened up. There's a lot of stagnating qi here. It could be much more invigorating for your discussions.
The fee Ka-Lam Lee charges for her advice is about €10 per square meter.
We will work within the limits of what you want to spend. We'll manage that.
Finanziellen Investitionsbetrages letztendlich werden wir dann arbeiten. Ja, das schaffen wir.
She's really curious. Her colleagues are already looking forward to it too.
Die sind auch alle mit diesem Gespräch einverstanden.
I expect suggestions from Frau Lee as to how I should put people together to ensure better working results and a more harmonious environment with a better flow of communication. I expect her to check that the dimensions of the desks are right and their positions relative to each other, so that we can get more energy into the rooms and can all benefit from it.
And if she suggests that you take a wall down?
I'd have to ask the landlord, but if it isn't a load-bearing wall and the costs are reasonable, one could certainly think about it.
Back to Mönchengladbach. 4 weeks ago, we visited Irina Brückel and her skeptical Dutch partner. In the meantime, their flat has been furnished following Ka-Lam Lee's advice. The main problem was a water vane under the living room and bedroom. Cork mats were to be the answer to Irina Brückel's problems.
I had headaches, I just wasn't well, and Frau Lee said too, I should probably see the doctor.
And then the mats came?
Frau Lee brought the mats and I put them down, at first just under my side because my husband isn't here during the week.
And you felt better?
I woke up the next day, I didn't have any pains in my neck, no tension, which carries up into my head and brings on a migraine in the course of the day. And I had the impression, when I looked in the mirror, that I felt fresher. My eyes weren't bloodshot anymore, which was a big problem. I had the feeling I was more alive. I felt rested, and most important of all, I didn't have any pain.
Can you show us the mats?
Yes, certainly. There are 2 of them, still folded. We'll unfold them later, but as I said, my husband is away for a while, so we haven't bothered to do it yet. We just put them down like this for the moment.
Die haben wir jetzt erstmal so hingelegt. Ich war skeptisch und ich bemerke tatsächlich, dass man
I was skeptical, but I really do notice a difference. I notice a difference in my sleep. I sleep deeper, and I feel more rested when I get up. And that's where I can really say that it's this Feng Shui that's made the difference.
Dass es dieses Feng Shui Unterschied gibt, lass es mal so sagen.
Specially selected stones, plants, matching colours, mirrors, picture symbols and a lot of discussions were also part of the implementation. It cost Irina Bröckel a good €2,500. Has it been worth it?
Feng Shui also has something to do with healing within one's own 4 walls. And looking at my blood results and my ECG today, they confirm that, and they confirm Feng Shui too.
By observing nature, monks laid the foundations of Feng Shui, healing and yet a little mysterious.